Locks, glens and beautiful ancient castles. Clans, tartans, kilts and bagpipes. William Wallace, Sir Sean Connery and the best smoked salmon on earth. This is Scotland and you're watching Hip World. On my third day in Scotland, I chose to visit the medieval city of Stirling, hometown of the famous Scottish hero William Wallace. During my last day, I went to discover three of the most famous Scottish products: wool, bagpipes, and of course, whiskey. Today, I'm going to take a step back into time and I'm going to go and visit Stirling, where the English army was defeated by the Scots, led by the famous Scottish hero William Wallace. Stirling is only 15 minutes away from Erth Castle, so it's very easy to get to. The Queen granted the title of city to Stirling, formally registered as a town, but you can still feel the rural origins of this beautiful place. Stirling has the typical plan of a medieval settlement, with buildings concentrated in between the River Forth and the magnificent castle on the hill. Of course, I couldn't miss the impressive castle of the city, so there I went. Here I am in the most magnificent Stirling Castle. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Excuse me, are you William Wallace?
I am, my lady. William Wallace of Elderslie, at your service. Do you wish to see the walls? Castle.
I would love to.
You must be careful. The castle is in English hands.
Really?
Catch me, I will be dead. Take that for your defence and follow me.
Tell me, what are you doing here?
I'm here to free the castle. At the moment, the English hold the walls. The castle was handed over when Edward the Longshanks of England decided in favour of John Balliol. But I am going to free it because this is the only way that the English can get north. We're going to go up to that gate.
Right.
I'm going to get some of the local men to dress up. And when we go in, we will slaughter. We will get rid of every single Englishman from the walls of the castle. And then we will take Edinburgh, Roxburgh, and Berwick, and we will sweep through.
Behind these walls, 3 kings of Scotland were born, and the castle was also the favoured royal residence of the Stuart monarchs. In the past, all armies travelling north or south had to pass here, so then Stirling and its castle became known as the Keys of the Kingdom. Back in time, you probably would have seen from this castle my newfound friend William Wallace defeating the English army in 1297, or King Robert the Bruce defeating the same foe in 1314.
Every
sitting right in front of one of Scotland's most prestigious and amazing buildings called the Church of Holy Rood. King James VI was crowned here. I don't know if you can see them, but there are a couple of black crows sort of flying around behind me and they're starting to freak me out. I feel like I'm in the middle of a Gothic film or something. The Holy Rood Church was completed under the reign of James IV. And listen to this, tradition has it that the king worked alongside the masons. Well, you did an impressive job, His Majesty. I've just walked up this never-ending hill, and behind me is the famous William Wallace Monument. 246 stairs to climb up. I'm gonna do it. While going up to reach the top of the spectacular Victorian Gothic Tower, you will find 3 rooms, each one of them offering a piece of Scottish history. From the holographical Westminster trial of William Wallace to the Hall of Heroes featuring a host of other famous Scots. All these steps are tiring, but I can promise you at the end you will be totally satisfied. Wow, I can't believe I've just walked up 246 steps. I can't believe I did this. It's absolutely breathtaking. It's a bit cold. Actually, I can't feel my hands. The walls are absolutely freezing, but the view is spectacular. Right, I'm gonna go downstairs now. Oh dear, another 246 to climb down again. Oh gosh, see you later. Blackness Castle, built here shortly after 1440, was used more as a fortress rather than a royal castle. Besieged by Oliver Cromwell's army back in 1660. Now, it was used as a state prison for more than 250 years. It was also used to store gunpowder. On my left is the front part of Blackness Castle. What's unique about it is that if you were sailing across, you'd get the impression as if the castle was actually sailing towards you. Mel Gibson shot his film Hamlet here, and Sean Connery also did Macbeth. It's absolutely breathtaking. Blackness Castle had a long military life for its strategic position on the River Forth, fortress, garrison, prison, ammunition depot. This loyal soldier retired from military service after World War I, and all buildings erected after 1870 were demolished and the others were restored. Magnus remains in the care of Historic Scotland and treated like a real vet deserves. Almost every castle in Scotland has a ghost, and apparently Earth Castle has a friendly one. I've always wanted to be a ghostbuster, so my mission was to find this mysterious ghost. What a beautiful day to end my visit here in Scotland. We're off to discover the Scottish Wool Centre, and then we're going to have a taste of a typical Scottish meal. Do you think we're going to find bagpipes today? I think so. On my last day in Scotland, reserved to discover typical Scottish products, I dedicated my first stop to the Scottish Wool Centre located in Aberfoyle, an hour drive from the hotel.
It's a fun-packed, all-live presentation, the story of Scottish wool. All 7 native breeds of sheep that have played their part in our Scottish woolen industry will be on show in the theatre. I'll be presenting the show, an Irishman telling you about sheep in Scotland. Boy, of the tourist board got a sense of humour. Come on, here's your tickets. Of Scottish wool and Aberfoyle and the Wool Centre. He's got 4 horns. His name is the Hebridean, and here he comes. Now, is there any English people here today? Anyone from England? You should be ashamed of yourself. The next sheep that we're going to bring in came to Scotland from England in the year 55 BC. Here he comes. When you think of a sheep, immediately everyone thinks big, white and woolly. And most sheep today are big, white and woolly. But these little guys, they're very, very primitive. They came to Scotland almost 1,500 years ago. 1 point! 1 point. Look, I'm the judge around here. 7 points to 3. Scotland's finest wool breed. The Scottish Blackface. Show, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to move outside where we're going to perform with a border collie and some ducks. We are going to present a little sheepdog and duck display. Fortunately for me, I've got this very, very beautiful colleague by the name of Mona.
superb beer. After having a whole pint of beer, my stomach was calling for some lunch. So I was told to go to the Champagny Inn, a classy establishment serving the best beef and salmon you can find in the whole of Scotland. Well, having spent the last 4 days trying to find this Scottish salmon that everybody's talking about, I believe I'm at the right place. Champagny Inn. It's really cozy, very warm, and I really feel like I'm at home.
You want smoked salmon, ma'am?
Smoked Scottish salmon.
That's correct.
Are you sure? Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. Delicious. Besides the delicious food, the Champagny features a very impressive cellar. 30,000 bottles of over 1,000 different vintages are held in a perfect environment. Each bottle is kept here for at least 6 months before being served. So, if you're looking for a true culinary experience, the Champagny is the right place to come. After a nice lunch, I can't think of anything better than to try some wonderful whiskey. To do so, I decided to visit the Glengoyne distillery, where Claire was waiting for me to explain the whole process of whiskey making. I believe you are going to be giving me some details about making malt whiskey.
Absolutely. First started producing the whiskey here legally in 1833, and the first ingredient of whiskey is water. The water for the Glengoyne whiskey comes from a waterfall at the back of the glen, and then it gets taken down into this lough just here. This is barley. It's the second ingredient of whiskey, but in the state that it's in, we can't make alcohol from it.
Right.
So we change it into the malted barley, which is just a process of soaking all the barley and then drying it out on a big malting floor. We then take it into our mills, where we grind it up to give us this fine powder, which we call grist. If you see, there's white powder in there. That's just the sugar. That's what will eventually become alcohol. But we separate the two. We sell on the husks to the cattle farmers, then make this high quality cattle cake for their cows. It makes them quite happy. It's got 2 to 3% alcohol in it. What we do is we take the grist and we put it through our mashing process, which is just in the distillery.
The most important part of the whiskey making process, the distillation. In order to separate the alcohol from the fermented liquid, it must first be boiled in large copper pot stills. Alcohol boils at a lower temperature than water, so the spirit will be drawn off first. The initial runnings, however, are not of pure enough quality, so this process needs to be repeated before the stillman collects the middle cut or final spirit.
Well, after the distillation process, we bring the spirit and we put it into our Spanish oak casks.
Spanish?
Yep, they've previously matured sherry, so that then gives the flavour of the sherry into the final flavour of the whiskey. We leave the spirit in here for a minimum of 10 years, and it starts to take all its flavours from the oak wood during that time. Also, it evaporates during that time. We lose 2 to 3% of each cask every single year to evaporation. It's got a nice wee name though, we call it the angel share of the whiskey.
So they must be very happy angels.
Very happy angels. We then take it to our bottling plant, where it will be bottled into our different whiskies. Okay. And I think the most important part is to then have a taste of the whiskey.
I think so.
Okay,
let's go. Wow. So this is what it looks like.
This is the core range of the Glengoyne whisky.
We're gonna have a taste of this.
This is our 10-year-old, the baby of the family, this one here. Then we have the 17-year-old, won the prize for being the best single malt whisky.
Okay.
And then one which is slightly older, the 21-year-old whisky. Some experts believe that by adding a splash of water, you sort of break the oils that are in the whisky and you allow more flavours and more aromas to be released. Then there's purists who are firmly against adding anything into single malt whisky except more single malt whisky.
I think I'm gonna try both, if possible.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Slangeva. Slangeva.
Slangeva. Ah, that's cheers, right?
Cheers, yeah.
Okay, Slangeva. Right. Strong. Oh, still quite strong, but
Bit softer.
I think I prefer the one with the water. That's lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
From Glengoyne Distillery, I went to find some real bagpipe makers. But firstly, I had to change because the weather here in Scotland is a little bit unpredictable. My last appointment of my trip here in Scotland. I'm about to go and see bagpipes and tartan kilts. I'm really excited. Hi, Mona.
Stuart, welcome to Thistle Banquet Works.
Thank you very much.
A kilt takes about 14 hours of hand stitching time. There's about 8 yards of material in the kilt. There's over 2,500 different tartans.
Okay.
And there's about 125 different clans.
Do the clans still exist? Or today, are you part of one?
Well, my surname is Harris and we're set to the clan Campbells.
Oh, great. Lovely. Oh, wow.
He's wearing a proper full Highland attire. The shoes we have are Gillybrogue shoes, and this is traditional Highland shoes. And we used to wear socks made from the same material as the kilt. The lace, in fact, was tied around the leg to secure the sock. The kilt pin, which just closes over the apron of the kilt. We have the steering do or the black neck.
Where's that placed exactly?
This is worn in the stocking,
In the stocking, okay.
like so. We have the sporran, and this is an integral part of Highland dress because obviously there's no pockets in a kilt, so we know to keep your half bottle of whiskey.
Are you wearing anything under the kilt? I mean, is there something worn?
Well, normally, no, madam, nothing's worn under the kilt. Everything's in perfect working order.
Nothing whatsoever.
Would you like to see?
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Oh, I don't mind.
Okay.
Well, this is the pipe chanter which we've just made. We take a double vibrating reed. We'll just give this a wee blow to make sure that the chanter
working.
is right in pitch.
Okay.
We put the pipe chanter in here. We have the bag here, which is obviously gives it the term the bagpipes. We have the bass drone. There's two tenor drones just to balance because the bass is quite loud. With all the engraving and the silver mounts, etc., could take up to about 150 hours of time to manufacture.
Enchanting land of castles, ghosts and heroes. This is how I will always remember Scotland and its proud inhabitants. come to the end of my wonderful trip here in Scotland. As they say here, Buna Ichloiv. See you in the next Tip World. Stirling is only 15 minutes away from Erth Castle, so it's very easy to get to. The Queen granted the title of city to Stirling, formally registered as a town, but you can still feel the rural origins of this beautiful place. Now I'm sitting right in front of one of Scotland's most prestigious and amazing buildings called the Church of Holy Rood. King James VI was crowned here. I don't know if you can see them, but there are a couple of black crows sort of flying around behind me and they're starting to freak me out. I feel like I'm in the middle of a gothic film or something. The most important part of the whiskey making process, the distillation. In order to separate the alcohol from the fermented liquid, it must first be boiled in large copper pot stills. Alcohol boils at a lower temperature than water, so the spirit will be drawn off first. The initial runnings, however, are not of pure enough quality, so this process needs to be repeated before the stillman collects the middle cut or final spirit.